On July 20th, Mahindra shocked us with the name Roxx, a name that will be associated now with the OG Thar, a car that is supposed to take you from point A to point B, even if there is no road in between them. And now, with the newer extended 5-door version, it says you can carry more people with more comfort in the same space. Welcome to Car and Bike. My name is Girish Karkera, and today we are driving the all-new Mahindra Thar Roxx. While it bears the name Thar, it has more to do with the positioning and capability of this SUV rather than hardware. So if you park the cars, this 5-door and the 3-door next to each other, you will realize that obviously not only is it longer and taller, but more importantly, it is wider. So the larger Thar Roxx not only has 2 extra doors, a larger boot space, but it also affords a bigger cabin. If you look at the wheels, they are one size bigger than the 3-door version at 19 inches. Ground clearance, however, is more or less the same. Now on paper and in reality too, what it means is with a longer wheelbase but similar ground clearance, it may probably not be as capable off-road as the 3-door version. But what it will do better, most definitely, is with on-road dynamics.
The Thar Roxx looks all new, but there is no missing the inspired design. It gets a different pair of focused LED headlamps with the different C-shaped DRLs. Grille changes to a 6-slat design with a horizontal demarcation. The bumpers look wider, are more elaborate, and turn indicators remain on the fender. Same, but different than the Thar. The resemblance, if any, is more to do with the classic round headlamps and iconic grille design. The latter's history, which most of you, if not all, are already aware of, so we will not dwell into that. In profile, the difference is very obvious. The slant of the C-pillar and the glass area it precedes has met with some criticism as it looks less cohesive, but it probably was warranted to make the rear half roomier. At the rear, you get a door and not a hatch, just like the 3-door Thar. Again, the car is boxy, but it looks well with the classic SUV premise.
Now the Thar Roxx has a new platform. Internally, it's called K4, and for the world, it's called Glide. And if you see at the side of the car is where you realize how the extension works. Now the rear door of the car has the door handle towards the C-pillar, and the reason for that was this window could not be lowered all the way. So this part of the window is a fixed glass, and only this part of the rear window rolls down. And that wouldn't afford them a door handle here, which has now gone here on the side. That's how you enter into the rear area of the Thar Roxx. Now, a good thing to notice here though, that the doors open 90 degrees. Now, apart from the size difference to the smaller Thar, a bigger change, of course, is the cabin, not only in size, but in terms of layout. Now, before I start on that, let me tell you about the 6 variants that have been announced so far. It starts with the MX-1 base variant, which comes with steel wheels. Then we have the MX-3, which is where the automatics are started to being offered. Then comes the AX7L, which has the Adrenox system. After that, we get the MX-5, which is where the sunroof, the smaller sunroof finally comes into play. This is followed by the AX5L, which is where the ADAS systems start coming in. And of course, what we have here is the top of the line AX7L, which has every feature possible that you can think of in this price range. So you should check out the dashboard of this new Thar Roxx, and you realize how it's busy, it looks premium and well finished. The textures, the kind of plastics used do symbolize quality, and they haven't forgotten that this is inherently an off-road vehicle, easily understood by these grab handles that you can see on the A-pillar. The dashboard is a dual tone one. You can see the use of black with stitching as well as white plastic. There is a grab handle here as well. The steering is big and is very similar to what you get in the Scorpio, or very similar to what you see also in a 700. The bigger thing here, since this is a top variant, is the touch display as well as a digital instrument cluster. Now I'm going to switch on the car, and you have button start on this, and it is not placed on the dashboard, but it is placed on your steering column. Now this screen in itself is a little clever. The interface looks great. It's a tad bit slow is what I feel, but it's a very familiar one, at least for those who've used Mahindras before. It's the similar system that you also get in the Scorpio N as well as the XUV 700. This unit looks much more modern and progressive. Also, the camera that it comes with. Now this comes with 360-degree camera as well, which I can activate via a button on the dashboard. And you can immediately notice the clarity of this camera. It is really nice. Also on the digital instrument cluster, a lot of nice touches that they have. For example, you can change the display to show a lot of information such as fuel or just drive information, or even mirror the navigation. Apart from that, if you look at the center console, 2 cup holders, you also have the electronic parking brake, auto hold. Now this car comes with 4x4. This is the top variant. So you also get it with the 4x2, which is the rear wheel drive only. So you have the additional stick with which you can change between 2 high, which is 2-wheel drive only, which is the normal driving mode. You can change it to 4 high, where it also engages the front wheels, and pull it back, then it goes into 4 low, which you can use for off-roading. It also comes with a crawl 4x4 function, which is really neat. So just like cruise control, where you keep it on a certain speed and the car continues to drive, you can now do the same thing while going off-road, where it will crawl at a very slow speed by itself. So all you need to do is focus on the steering input and the road ahead. By virtue of this being an off-road capable vehicle, the feature you can see here are the adventure stats. Just like in a sports car, you can see your lap times. Here you see your adventure time as well when you're having fun with the car. So there are various functions and performance metrics to see. Engine performance, speedo, tacho, compass and altimeter. You can get off-road stats, which also give you the amount of roll and pitch that the car is going to. Shows you also the tire direction and the compass altimeter. Lap info in case you get into any competitive arena with this car. And there is also a custom option which allows you to change and show what data that you want to see. A big concern for early adapters of the Thar 3-door was that there was not enough room at the rear, of course, and also the access. Now the access bit, as I told you, has already been solved. And this is a proper rear bench. There's seems to be enough room for 3 abreast. The floor, as you can see, is flat, and that's very convenient. Apart from that, seat seems plush. Again, leatherette seats. No ventilation here. There is a center armrest with cup holders. You have storage spaces on the doors, although they're not big storage spaces. So that is one miss, that you cannot even keep a bottle in the doors, or there is nothing to be stored here. AC vents at the rear. There are no controls for the fan, but I think the AC should be fine given that we are in a hot and humid Kochi, and it seems to be working just fine. For those who buy the top AX7L trim, there is panoramic sky roof to enjoy. But apart from that, legroom seems decent, and even for an average size guy like me, I am around 5'8", and there seems to be enough headroom as well as legroom, and just about adequate under-thigh support, so long distance journeys could be a bit more comfortable. Unlike a lot of cars, although we have 3 seats, they've also given 3 headrests, so third passenger also can enjoy more comfort and more convenience. There are also 3-point seat belts for all the rear passengers and isofix seat mounts for child seats. This apart from the 6 airbags, which is now standard across the range. Now there are clever bits at the rear. I like the way how this seat has been scooped out from the rear so that it offers more legroom. Also, they have storage space for the phone along with a Type-C USB charger, which is pretty handy. Just like the front seats, the rear seats can also be reclined in the Thar Roxx, and there is a 60-40 rear split for the backrest. So it gives you more room for luggage in case you need it. Apart from that, the rear luggage, which is bigger than the 3-door Thar, is around 644 liters. Of course, this is the volume of the entire section up to the roof. There is no parcel tray being offered in the Thar Roxx. And just like the Thar 3-door, the 5-door Thar Roxx also has a split rear door divided into two sections. The lower section pulls out as a door and the upper portion goes up like a hatch. The Thar Roxx is available with either a petrol or a diesel engine. The petrol engine is a 2-liter from the M Stallion family. It can be mated to either 6-speed manual or a 6-speed torque converter. Now the manual is available in 2 states of tune. The diesel is a 2.2 from the M Hawk family, and that is available in 2 states of tune for the automatic, but the manual is a solo. In both of these, 4x4 starts at the mid MX5 level, but it is only available with the diesel engine. So what we are driving here today is the top diesel version. As you can see, it has an automatic box and the 4x4 shifter as well. The 4x4 can be toggled between a 4 high and a 4 low, which shows you the extreme capability of the Thar Roxx, very similar to that of the 3-door Thar. The engine is super smooth, and we've experienced this actually a shift in the refinement of Mahindra cars right with the introduction of the new Thar a few years ago, and that has sort of carried over in all their models. They have done a lot of things to improve the overall rigidity of the chassis. See the difference when you are driving the car. A lot of work has also gone behind the suspension and the ride quality. The ride quality is really excellent. What they have done to the suspension tune-up is that they have ensured it doesn't bounce as much. Yes, there is a body roll, but the bounce is under control. It's relative, of course, and compared to the 3-door Thar, it's much improved. The steering wheel visually reminds you of the one in the 700, which was launched roughly 3 years ago. And it's a very similar looking unit, and it affords a very similar power steering feel as well. This is an electric power steering. From turn to turn, it can go around 3 circles. It weighs well, and it communicates well with the driver as well. You will really love driving the Thar Roxx. The thing that you would appreciate the most is that at high speeds, it is able to be very calm and very stable. Now, that is something that a ladder-on frame chassis really struggles with, but they've really done wonders with the car's suspension. Again, I'm saying this from a perspective of a true blue off-roader, a true blue ladder-on frame chassis car. Its ride quality and overall refinement levels are very close to that of the 700, which is a proper monocoque SUV. Now, there is no fuel efficiency figure given for this car, but on the display, it is showing us around 9 kilometers per liter. Maybe the real world figure may differ a bit from that. If you're driving the new Thar Roxx, then there is an obvious comparison to its siblings. To drive, this is very similar to the 3-door version. Now, compared to the Scorpio N, which I think is a more obvious competitor for this car, this feels less regal than that. Now, with the Scorpio, since you're sitting higher and it has a tall stance, it gives you a much more higher perspective of what is around you, gives it a more regal stance than what this can offer. But again, the Scorpio N can be a tad big for a lot of people who want to use an SUV on a daily basis. And that is something where this Thar Roxx comes in, because it is slightly smaller in size, it feels more cohesive, and it affords a nice image for its owners. While it may not be as tall as a Scorpio N, what the Thar Roxx is able to do is give you the proper SUV stance from a driver's point of view. You can see the bonnet ahead, it's nice and flat and long. Overall visibility is pretty good. The rear view mirror is spot on and very clear. It is auto dimming. The vertical door mirrors are pretty handy, and these of course are auto fold as well. In case you are in a tight space, this comes with 360-degree camera in the top spec, which is great for overall visibility, and the resolution of the camera is pretty nice. Driving in traffic, not a problem. The car feels effortless and you can easily snake between traffic and tight spaces. Even building speed is not much of a problem. The car comes with level 2 ADAS, which means it has adaptive cruise control. You can even set the distance between the car in front of you, and it has 3 levels for that. So it also has steering assist. So in case it feels like you are swaying away from the lane, the steering wheel will give a slight shudder. So rear seat in the Thar Roxx, they seem to have solved that problem. Access from the rear door, of course, but the seat itself feels like a proper SUV seat. You're sitting high, the seat is wide enough for 3 people, and as I mentioned earlier, but on the move, how does it feel? Well, the ride quality at the rear is similar to what you get at the front. It's very supple at low speeds and very pliant at high speeds. So you're not bouncing around all the time like in a short wheelbase vehicle. In terms of creature comforts, well, this is not a luxury vehicle and a lot of action happening at the front. At the rear, well, it just kept plain and simple. You may have to use your phone to keep yourself entertained. But apart from that, if you want to have a sound sleep over a long distance, well, you won't have much of a problem in the Thar Roxx. Despite this being a quintessential off-road kind of vehicle, a ladder-on-frame chassis vehicle, but still it offers loads of comfort at the rear. Now, at the time we made this video, the entire price range was yet to be announced. What we know is that it starts at just under 13 lakh rupees and goes up to 19 lakh rupees. The price for this top diesel automatic variant was yet to be announced, but we reckon it would be in the region of 20 to 21 lakhs ex-showroom. In that case, we realize how this simply overlaps the Scorpio N in terms of pricing. Now, when the Thar was launched, it was an instant success. It was mainly because it offered the option of a quintessential SUV that would also be a practical daily runabout. It was indeed an offering unlike anything. However, many of the early adapters of the Thar had 2 major concerns. One was the accessibility of the rear seat, and second was a boot that was big enough for their everyday needs, which is not a surprise that some of them decided to part ways. Now, does the Thar Roxx solve those shortcomings of the Thar 3-door? It definitely does. But is it still a quintessential off-roader? Well, with a pinch of salt, it's almost as good as the 3-door Thar. So in terms of packaging, it's more rounded than its abridged version, which makes it even more interesting. More features, refined, and definitely a more practical everyday car. It probably is not as personal as a 3-door Thar can get, but it caters to a wider audience and makes it much more relevant to us. Cliched as it may sound, this Thar really rocks. If you have any more questions around the Thar Roxx, do leave us a comment. If you like this video, do share it with your family and friends, and do not forget to subscribe to our Car and Bike channel.